You've probably heard the term common law thrown around a ton, right? In movies, on the news, it's everywhere. And it sounds super important because, well, it is. But what does it actually mean? You might be surprised to hear that there isn't just one simple answer.
The reason it can feel so confusing is that common law is kind of a chameleon. Its meaning totally changes depending on the context. But don't you worry, we are about to make this whole thing crystal clear.
The secret to finally understanding common law? It's all about this number, 3. The term doesn't just have one meaning, it has 3 totally distinct ones. And once you know what they are, the whole concept just snaps into focus. So let's break them down one by one. All right, first step is the biggest, most zoomed out definition you can get. This is what we can call the macro view. We're looking at common law as this massive international idea. So in this big picture sense, common law isn't just a rule, it's an entire family of law. It's the whole legal tradition that got its start in England centuries ago and then spread all over the globe. You can think of it like the foundational DNA for how a whole country organizes its courts and its justice system. And just look at how influential this legal family is. I mean, we're talking about major world powers here. From the United States to India, Canada to Australia, all of them operate within this tradition. Now, of course, their specific laws are different, but they all share that common legal DNA, a foundation built on the very same principles. Okay, let's zoom in a bit to our second meaning. Now, this is probably the most famous one, the definition that gets all the attention in legal dramas. This is what I like to call the action view, because it's all about how the law is actively being made and shaped, day in and day out. With this meaning, the focus shifts completely to judges. See, unlike laws that are passed by politicians in a legislature, this type of common law is literally born inside a courtroom. When a judge makes a big decision, they're not just solving one little dispute. They might be setting a legal precedent that's going to shape how thousands of future cases are decided. So how does this actually work? Well, it all starts with a brand new, unique case that a court hasn't seen before. A judge hears the arguments and then issues a really detailed ruling explaining their reasoning. That ruling, that logic, then becomes a precedent. And here's the kicker. Future judges dealing with similar cases have to follow that precedent. It's a principle called stare decisis, a fancy Latin term that just means to stand by things decided. It's pretty amazing because it allows the law to grow and adapt, case by case, without a single new bill being passed. All right, on to our third and final meaning. Now, this one is the most specific, the most technical of the bunch. You can think of this as the expert view, a really old distinction that's still super important if you want to understand the nitty-gritty of how law is practiced. Now, this is where it gets really granular. In this very specific context, common law doesn't mean the whole system, and it doesn't mean all judge-made law. Instead, it refers to just one branch of judge-made law that grew up right alongside another branch called equity. The best way to think about it is like a judge having 2 different toolkits they can use to solve a problem. So this difference goes way, way back. Historically, common law courts were pretty rigid. They could mostly just give you money if you were wronged. But what if money isn't enough to fix the problem? Let's say your neighbor starts building a massive, ugly fence that blocks all your sunlight. A common law court might just give you some cash after it's already built. But a court of equity could do something different. It could issue an injunction, which is an order forcing them to stop building the fence right now. It was all about finding a fair solution when the strict rules just didn't cut it. Today, most courts use both toolkits, but that core idea, balancing strict rights with fair outcomes, is still absolutely crucial. So there we have it. A global system, a lawmaking process, and a specific legal category. 3 really different ideas all crammed into this one single term. So let's take a second and put it all together to see that full picture. This table right here, this is your ultimate cheat sheet. You've got meaning number 1, the big picture system for entire countries. Then you've got meaning number 2, the active process of judges making law through precedent. And finally, meaning number 3, the technical category of law that focuses on rights. 3 layers, 1 name. And this is the most important takeaway of all. Context is everything. The next time you hear a news anchor or a lawyer on TV mention common law, you'll know to listen for clues. Are they talking about the global system, the lawmaking process, or that technical category? You now have the key to unlock what they're really talking about. So I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. As you go about your week, just listen for that term, common law.
Now that you know the three possibilities, which one do you think you're hearing about? The system, the process, or the category? I think you'll be pretty surprised by what you start to notice. Thanks for tuning into this explainer.